Hello, my name is Shantanu Rajadhyakshya and I am part of the first class of the Penn State York VIIE Twinning Program. I graduated in 2010 and here I am to give you a short overview of this whole program. So after my 12th grade, I've always thought of doing something very unconventional and different, and knowing from a lot of my relatives who went to the US for their further education, I knew that that was one place which offered me a chance to not only further my technical skills but also to expand and do a lot of extracurricular activities which would make me an overall rounded person. So when I came, I wasn't really expecting to go there, but when I came to VIIE and knew about this program, I also knew that spending the first 2 years of my education life over here, I would get to experience the Indian side of higher education, which would not be available in the US, which has some advantages. And then, having been given a solid base, then I could move on to the US, not experience a definite culture shock, which a lot of our people do experience. I had that solid base, I go to the US, and then I am able to experience and do all those things that I always wanted to do extracurricular wise. And therefore, at the end of 4 years, having gained that 2+2 experience, I would have that truly international student experience, which I think very few students get to experience. When I first joined with VIIE, I had the fortunate experience of being able to be the student leader of our class. And since it was our first class, it was new for the management and students and everybody involved, including the parents. So it was a new experience for me to sit down and interact with everybody, form new ideas, brainstorm, and bring about this whole program, which has now come down several batches. And therefore, these 2 years of VIIE, although they were more formative, where I kind of sat down and we expanded the whole situation, which has become so successful. It was a lot of fun for me because I did not have this experience before. I was not expecting to have this kind of a situation where I would be able to actually form a new pioneering thing. And along with all these studies and this inside the classroom, I spent many more hours outside of it, where I had to coordinate some kind of lectures, then I had to sit down with some management. I also organized a lot of extracurricular activities in the campus itself, sports festivals, cultural fests. And so at the end of 2 years, I had also so many other friends that I made throughout the entire campus, and not only in a Penn State program, that I was able to just take many more good memories from VIIE. One more very important factor in me making this decision to have 2 years at VIIE was that I could also stay inside the Indian system and experience something that is not usually present here. I could stay with my parents, I could live in Mumbai, but yet experience the same academic process that is followed in the United States. Along with following this traditional path where I had to do my IT in the IST program, I also had this unique opportunity to follow subjects such as yoga, like modern ballroom dance, we did salsa, and then we also did subjects such as physics, economics, English, psychology, and also other type of subjects such as statistics, for example, where the American system was followed. So we not only sat inside the classroom and followed this rigid pattern of only following this technical skill of IT, but we also expanded our horizons right here in India itself, inside the VIIE campus. So therefore we had that firm base of what we were going to expect when we went after 2 years to Penn State York. So in that case, it also prepared us so well that when we eventually did go there, it wasn't very alien for us. That we felt that we've already done this before. So in that sense, it was a very good foundation for us. Transitioning to Penn State and into the academic system, the main difference that you find between the Indian and the American is that there is a lot more independence given to the student. Whereas in the Indian education system, you are told this is your weekly schedule, you have to follow this, you have to come to college at these particular times. Over there is a lot of self-accountability. The students themselves have the responsibility of choosing their own classes. They are told this is what you need to do, these are the number of classes that you need to take, these are the types of classes that you need to take over the period of 2 years. How and when you mix them and form your own combinations is the student's choice. So every student has the help of an advisor at Penn State York, where he or she might sit down with you, advise you, if you like these type of classes, you can take them. Then the student can make the choice, I like arts more. I can take maybe a drawing class, maybe I can take a music class, maybe I can do a theatre class. All three of which I myself did, and there is a lot of independence that you gain of making these decisions by yourself as well. So you sit down, you choose all your classes from the list of total classes online, you make the schedule online, and that's it essentially. You can choose in the week's time, in the week of 5 days, you can choose, okay, I want 3 classes in one day, I can cope up with that on Monday, but on Tuesday I want to work. I want to do my homework or any other type of personal work I want to do. So I don't want to have any classes. So I might arrange my schedule accordingly. So that flexibility allows any type of student to have more control over what they're learning, what they want to learn, and how they want to do it, and when they want to do it as well. So that gives the student a more greater sense of responsibility as well. That tells the student, okay, I have made all these decisions myself, therefore I will also be held responsible of whatever action I take, whether I attend classes or not, whether I fail in these classes or get an A in each of these classes. It will all be up to me. It is not anyone else's credit that I am taking, it's all because of my own decisions. And at the end of the semester, when you see the results for yourself, you actually appreciate it more because you know that you've put in all the hard work yourself. So that's the main importance and advantage of the academic system there as a whole. So along with this flexible academic system where you can choose your own classes and have free time according to your own will, the US system also allows a student to work on campus as well. Now for American citizens you can work on and off campus, but for international citizens like myself, when you're on an F1 student visa, you're only allowed to work on campus and for a maximum of 20 hours a day. For myself, what I did was I had 2 jobs. In the first year, I only had one where I worked at the IT help desk in our computer labs. But in the second year, I took on a second job along with that as well, which was to work in the school cafeteria called the Lion's Den. And these were 2 very big contrasting jobs where, for one, I was just sitting at a chair and assisting students with their computer-related problems. But for the other, I was doing all kinds of manual labor such as cooking the food, being the cashier, scrubbing the floors, mopping the floors, cleaning all the utensils and everything that goes on behind the counter in the kitchen. So this type of job, and even both types of jobs for that matter, give you that sense of value that every dollar has, that whatever your parents spend or invest in your education, you gain that sense of value which you can not get if you were just sitting and even studying and just doing a job after your 4 years. So these jobs actually make you realize, okay, I want to shop for my groceries in the next month, so I'm going to earn extra money right now, or I'll work a little bit extra within those 20 hours, but I'll work a little bit extra maybe, and I'll work harder, I'll earn this money, I'll put it in the bank, I'll open my savings account, I'll then be able to spend a little more on the groceries that I need for next month. All these decisions that are a subsequent result of you just working in a job, earning your own money, then after that studying and bringing it all together, and at the end of the semester, at the end of the year, kind of having this great experience where you did it all yourself. You took nobody's help, you paid your own rent, you paid for your own groceries, you made your own food, you did everything, you went to the bank, you opened your own social security access account, then you did your studies along with all of this, and yet kind of earned all A grades in all your subjects that you took. When you combine all of these factors, then you realize how hard it is maybe for your parents that to put you all through this, and then it gives you a much greater sense of understanding of how the real world works. And that I think is the main advantage of the US system, where it gives you that opportunity to taste what it might be after 4 years. Another part of the system was that I was allowed to do internships along with my jobs, along with my studies inside the classroom as well. The IST curriculum in the US also makes it mandatory for a student to have a minimum of 300 hours of an IT related internship. And this internship I followed in 2 ways. I did one internship in India where I came back to India for the summer in 2009, and I did an internship in Pune with an online content management system. And also when I went back to the US, I did an internship with a local church in New York where I developed a website for them. And these were both were of 300 hours each. So I managed to do 600 hours of total internship experience. And although 300 was the mandatory, 600 also gave me that extra needed experience where I was able to work for a real job in an outside the campus experience where I could talk to my real boss, I could work with them, and also have that real office experience which one will kind of need after the 4 years of the graduation. Apart from these two internships, I also had the fortunate experience of working with my campus newspaper. Not only my campus essentially, I worked with Penn State's newspaper, which is called the Global Lion, and I worked with them to write diversity events and send international pictures and everything. So that became another internship in itself. So I was required to write one article per week for them, and they would edit it. I would edit other peers' articles and then resubmit those. So that gave me another different type of technical writing and also informal writing experience, which we all need in our course of time in our educational and professional lives. So these internships, along with the jobs and the academic experiences, all kind of bring together for a complete, well-rounded experience, which I think the US is kind of unique in, and that's their best advantage that the student can get from it. All the experiences that I had at Penn State York, there are quite a few number which I found to be memorable, and I wanted to experience and share those with you guys. One was that during my first year, during our Christmas break, I was supposed to go to Los Angeles to meet some of my family. And unfortunately, what happened was that it had snowed just 2 weeks before our break started. And because it snowed, just like it is with rains and all these natural calamities in India, our schedule got postponed, and therefore all our exams were kind of postponed by a couple of days at least. And the day I was supposed to fly, because of our postponed schedule, we had our psychology paper being scheduled on that very same day. Therefore, I was in a fix. And typically, what I could do is just pray that the exam would get cancelled or something like that. But in this case, I went to my professor, whom I shared a very good experience, relationship with. So I spoke to him. I told him about the situation. That all right, this was out of anybody's control that our schedule got postponed. But by that time, I had already booked my airline ticket. So what could I do? And the professor was flexible enough and open enough with me to tell me, okay, I can essentially give you the paper 1 day earlier before you fly. I can give it to you 1 day earlier so you're able to take your exam, and then what you can do is just follow your regular whatever schedule you have. But what you have to do is also sign a contract of confidentiality, which would ensure that you would not share this information or the paper that I gave to you with anybody else. And that was easy enough to do. And since my situation was also kind of desperate, I was really glad that my professor decided to help me out in this fashion. So I just gave the exam 1 day earlier, and that was all sorted out. So I appreciate the way the professors are very flexible in accommodating children's and students' interests. Professors are always willing to work with students at all points of time to ensure that they are not suffering or lagging behind, or they don't fall behind due to any unforeseen reason. Now, in my management class, for example, I had to write several articles as assignments and then submit them to my professor. But during the middle of the semester, I had to go for a live interview to New York City for Teach for India, which is the current job that I'll be following. But during this interview time, I also had to submit a hard copy of my assignment to the professor. And since this class only took place once a week, she only accepted it on 1 day, that was on a Monday. And the last class was the Monday before that, so I had no chance of submitting my assignment to her before that as well. So I was in a fix. If I could not have submitted my assignment to her, I would have lost those 30-40 points. And therefore that would have taken a real hit on my eventual GPA as well. So I emailed the professor. I had told her beforehand that I would be going for this interview. What could I do? She had also told me, okay, email me your queries and concerns and we'll work it out together. So I just emailed her and I told her, okay, I'm going for this interview. I'll be here at this and this time. I will not be able to attend your class at this time. And I also will not be able to submit to you the assignment that I have already prepared. So what do I do? Can I submit it to you online? And she was gracious and flexible enough to accept that, okay, this is a genuine situation where he really can't come running from New York City 4 hours to York and then submit the assignment. So she let me submit it online, and she told me, okay, since you've done it, you can submit it online and also submit the hard copy to me the week after that. and that's what I did. So that saved me a whole load of trouble and also gave me those 30-40 points, which ensured that I had an A grade at the end of the class. So this also kind of helps the students a lot in placing their confidence in the teacher, and also gives the students that responsibility that, okay, if there is a genuine problem, the student and the professor will definitely help us out. They won't really shirk their responsibility. But also, if there is something that's bogus or not really that genuine, the professor will equally take that harsh an action that is needed to be taken. So that mutual understanding and cooperation between the teacher and the student helps to promote a very healthy studying atmosphere in the whole campus.